Look what I did to this city with a few drums of gas and a couple of bullets. You know what I noticed? Nobody panics when things go according to plan. Even if the plan is horrifying. If tomorrow I tell the press that, like, a gangbanger will get shot, or a truckload of soldiers will be blowing up, nobody panics. Because it's all part of the plan. But when I say that one little old mare will die, well, then everyone loses their minds. Introduce a little anarchy. Upset the established order, and everything becomes chaos. I'm an agent of chaos. Oh, and you know the thing about chaos? It's fair.
Hey, Shalom, all praises to Yahweh by Hashem Shai, double honors to the apostles, elders, and all you brothers and sisters pushing the name of Yahweh by Hashem Shai in all truth and sincerity. Spirit got it, we're watching the news, watching these prophecies pop off. When you read Isaiah the 19th chapter, the Lord say he shall bring the Egyptian against the Egyptian. And that's talking about the modern day American. Because America is prophesied as Babylon the Great, and when you read Revelations, the 11th chapter, it says spiritually known as Egypt and as Sodom. Because you can look outside and see how rapid Sodom is in Egypt, because the children of Israel are in captivity over here in America, the southern and northern tribe, Judah and Israel, which were pressed together. And also it's Egypt because this is where they took all the relics and everything else of Egypt, the witchcraft, the philosophies, the sorcery, everything of Egypt, and it's all in America, aka Babylon the Great. The Spirit had it watching with that CEO getting whacked last week, and the whole world went into chaos. The media was giving it coverage like crazy, and the Spirit had it where I meditated upon that old movie, The Dark Knight, with Joker, Heath Ledger, and when he had the mayor Two-Face in there, he brung out, said, if gangbangers or a truck of soldiers get killed, people don't react because it's part of the plan. But when he put out a hit on the mayor, everybody went crazy because they're not supposed to be touched. They're also known as, in this world, known as the princes of the nobles, the kings, or the untouchables. So when you go out of status quo, out of the program, or the agenda, people go crazy. Because you got children getting killed constantly, gun violence, especially in the inner cities, so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans getting killed. And there's no recoil or manhunt like they put on for this hitman Luigi Mangione, aka the Joker. And that just shows you that's part of the chaos. And more of the untouchables will be touched. Now, when you got senators that was hit, like that judge that was killed by the sheriff in the chambers, that's biblical prophecy of the Egyptians coming up against the Egyptians. And the Lord said, put into my ears, when you read 2 Ezra 15:1, said, behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord. And those who sup with Yahweh by Hashem Shai, the spirit of Yahweh Shai is prophecy. When you read Revelations, the 19th chapter, and prophecy says there's going to be more chaos and more untouchables being touched. I jump down to the 15 to the 12th verse. All right, actually 11. It said, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and stretch out the arm and smite Egypt with the plagues before, and I will destroy all the land thereof. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundations of it shall be smitten with the plagues and punishment of the Most High shall bring upon it. And they that till the ground shall mourn, for their seed shall fall through the blast in the hell, and with a fearful consolation. And that fearful consolation is the signs of heaven, and then the signs that's going on earth of them going up against each other. That's biblical, that's heavy prophecy of watching these devils go against each other. There's also a CNN report, the manhunt of finding the CEO hitman, and you see the rebuttal and the hate that so-called Americans, so-called white Americans have against the insurance company, against the bankers, against the senators, the president. Look at that so-called assassination on Trump, even though if it was staged or not, if you believe it's staged to the spirit, it's still a sign of the times of things to come. Because when you read the book of Psalms, it said they're not in trouble like other men. All the other nations getting bombed, their lands, the so-called Negroes, Latinos over here are always on the hunt, being persecuted by their police. Now their so-called nobles, their bankers, their presidents, their senators, their judges, their police officers are being touched. And their wickedness is coming out. Now the Edomites that's against the who was promoting and even cheering on for the hitman, they was giving their stories of how their claims of medicine for their children were being denied, and now their children are suffering and about to die. So that's what making them go up against seeing this whole system is corrupt. It's all about the dollar or the bottom line. That's why the scriptures say the love of money is the root of all evil. That even his own people is rooting against them and cheering for when their people are being, their so-called princes or nobles are being touched, which is biblical prophecy. It says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up against the fight against another, and swords in their hand, with guns. And that what hitman Luigi had in his hand was the modern day sword, the gun. And there's other ones that's going to rebel and jump up. You got judges being killed in their house. You got our people that don't give a hell. They jumping across and jumping on these so-called judges and everything. This is the sign of the times. It says, for there shall be sedition amongst men. And that's the sedition. They're like, hold up. They see that there's men, especially the people that's in the know, the military that know about the New World Order. You got militias and everything. They bearing arms ready to fight against the government. They know that something bad is coming in of their own people. That's why I said the Egyptian shall be against the Egyptian. And that they're bearing arms and they're about to start attacking their local senators, judges, police officers, sheriffs, whatsoever. There shall be sedition among men and invading one another, and they shall not regard the kings nor princes, because the king or prince was known as nobility and untouchable. Now they don't give a shit. That's the sign of the times. And the course of their actions shall stand in their power. And that's a major prophecy that we're seeing. And when you look at it, they talk about the bailouts for the banks when Obama's presidency, and they seen that the bankers got rich and the people, the average day people were losing their homes. They see that their insurance claims wasn't being pushed for their children. Or sometimes you even got on a higher level where Esau sends out hitmen to even kill that might know something about the whistleblower. There's a lot of blackmailing in that corporate world. That's why even certain judges around the Epstein cases got killed. It's all kind of corruption. And the Lord says he's going to pull up the skirt and make the leg bare and show everybody your wickedness. So it says, there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able to. Because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, and the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Now, when you know Esau's status quo, order ab chaos, like Joker was talking to, they want chaos so they could bring in the order. Chaos, now they're going to want more cameras, more police, make it a police state. Even the sheriffs and police officers, they want to institute the smart gun. That's all going to be controlled by that MOTB. That is really a smart microchip that they want to put and implant people. They can read your vitals. They can assign your gun. And if your gun's not assigned to you, you can't shoot it. Everything leading to or them with their control, which is mass surveillance and that digital all, aka the mark of the beast, that aka that microchip. This is biblical prophecy. And also the prophecy is also why the Esau's catching it and about to be the number one target on this earth, is that the curses When you read Deuteronomy 30 and 7, the Lord says he's going to take the curses that was on us and put it on our enemies and all that hate us, all the nations. But mainly Esau is going to catch it with no mercy, as prophesied. And those curses where they had black on black crime, Latino against Latino, Native American against Native American, so-called, against each other. Now they're fighting against each other. And the scriptures say, if Satan's house be divided, how can it stand? So these are beautiful times that when in biblical prophecy is popping off, and all hell's going to come onto the Untouchables. And that thing with the CEO and Esau pissed off at their rulers or the ones who run this corporate world, which is the corporate runs everything. Blackwater and all these private investing groups, they run everything under the hands of the so-called elites or international bankers to make it seem like it's not a monopoly, but that's who runs everything. And they said that they denied claims and everything else, and people went crazy. There's a movie called John Q where Denzel Washington played in 2002, and that movie show you how the insurance company and how corrupt they are because his insurance wouldn't cover the heart transplant of his son, and he had to take actions in his own hand. That's the times that we're living in. So it's just a quick show through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai. All hell's coming to cause Egypt, spiritually Egypt, aka Babylon the Great. And the Lord's bringing the shaft and the sickle through it. Shalom.
The moment that photos started coming out about him, it started taking a turn.
Because a lot of people find him really attractive.
Yeah.
Do you think that's why so many people are supporting him?
Honestly, yeah.
It's the halo effect, like, manifesting in real society.
People couldn't, I think, in some ways believe that someone who looked like this would commit this kind of a crime.
Support is exploding online.
People are joking about the suspect being sexy, talking about Brian Thompson. We saw people saying, sorry, you didn't get prior authorization for my thoughts and prayers. Everybody gets sick. Everyone has to go to the doctor. Everyone has experienced the cold, heartless bureaucracy of it.
People forget that these numbers that they're interacting with affects actual people's lives.
The anger was very clear and direct. People jumped online to share their stories.
Because United Healthcare had just denied my son a refill for his life-saving medication.
Do you have a story about United Healthcare? Because I sure as hell do.
I saw a million stories like that, having been denied care or their children having been denied care.
If you were to ask Americans, whether or not the health care in this country is excellent or good, less than a third say that the coverage is excellent or good.
People are responsible for their own actions. But this murder doesn't happen without the greater context of resentment, distrust in institutions.
The meeting of the Security Council is called to order.
The breakdown in trust has been going on for 2 decades.
The purpose of that resolution was to disarm Iraq of its weapons of mass destruction.
It started with the Iraq War. There were no weapons of mass destruction. It worsened with the financial crisis and the bailout of the banks. Well, normal people lost their homes. It was like the emperor has no clothes. It's when they realized that the institutions did not have the answers that they thought they would.
It leads to frustration, and more than that, it leads to hopelessness. And when you have hopelessness, actions that cannot be tolerated, at least in some corners of the country, are tolerated. Viewpoints towards the healthcare industry are so negative in this country that folks were willing to look past the fact that a father and a husband was shot dead.
The people in these higher positions, like CEOs, they need to look at the cost of living and the cost of their products, and they need to do better.